All right. Yeah. Yeah, I thought we'd do part two of Norm on Stern. Yeah. Because I just had a little bit of a beef. So, yeah. But, yeah, let's go.
Do it from my house.
I thought Mad Dog Unleashed was.
Oh, Unleashed you do. Mad Dog
No,
Unleashed.
but Brewer
No,
Unleashed. He just
Brewer.
reminded me. Brewer has the same name.
Brewer,
as Mad.
you mean Mad Dog took Brewer's name, Unleashed?
It's Unleashed.
It's Brewer Unleashed. That's
How can we have that? How can we have?
Everything's Unleashed on Sirius.
Yeah, no.
They all
Mad-
stole it from that Byron Allen.
He was Unleashed.
He had comics Unleashed.
You're right. I remember he was Unleashed too. All these guys are Unleashed.
I went on Byron Allen's Comics Unleashed.
Yes. How was that experience?
Well, first of all, you couldn't be more leashed. But he would
When was he ever unleashed?
do the craziest fucking.
That's another one of my favourite Norm jokes. Because I love... It's Norm that says the perfect joke is where the setup and the punchline are the same. Like, you're saying the same thing, but yeah. And that's a close one for it. Comics Unleashed. I've never felt more leashed. That's such a great Norm joke, yeah.
Segues ever. Like, you know, he just asked you for some bits from your fucking act, right?
Right.
So then he talked to one guy. I've had to follow fucking Schimmel, right? So he's not a good guy to open with. So Byron Allen's like, so, Robert, I understand you have cancer. You know, that's his fucking opening. So Schimmel's like, yeah, I have cancer and I'm fucking the girl that,
Right.
boyfriend. And then he turns to me and goes, and Norm, you got a dog.
Sounds like you guys were unleashed that night. You really were laying it all
But the
out.
funniest thing I heard him say is, he said, because, you know, he just gets the jokes beforehand and then tries to think of a question. So he had John Lovitz on, and he said, now, John, I understand you're getting older.
That didn't happen.
That did happen.
I got to have a
I
tape
swear
of
to
that.
God, that happened.
John, I understand you're getting older. Had a joke on aging. Wow.
That's like I told Carmen Electra was on that show later. This is my favorite dumb chick moment of all time. Dumb hot chick. And the girl said to her, it was one of those, that black chick who hosted that show for a while.
Aisha Tyler?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was her. So she says, Carmen, what's the one thing you can't live without? And she said, she thought for like 30 seconds and she said food.
Well, she answered it properly.
So you're
That's
a
true.
human, so you're a
It's
human
got to be
being.
either oxygen or food, right? What else is there? Let's take a couple of phone calls for the great Norm Macdonald. We haven't seen him in years.
I know, it's so nice. You know, last time I came up here was with Artie when we were looking around the studios. You were showing me the new
That's
studios.
right, yeah. You're talking about a couple of years already.
Yeah.
You're busy. Listen, what can I say? What do you think of these comedians? Like Dave Chappelle stays on stage sometimes 8, 9, 10 hours.
Yeah, I know. They have Dane Cook in L.A. They have this contest now.
Yeah.
Who can stay on stage the longest?
Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, doesn't that...
Well, it's kind of... The audience is really the people that should get the prize.
Exactly.
I know. I mean, you can get... Even the best comedian, you would get fatigued after a while hearing that much
Anybody
comedy.
can. I mean, if you can kill for... It should be, you know... If you go 5 minutes without a laugh, you lose or something. But otherwise, this is just talking to a mic.
Do you ever get up on stage and think about the absurdity of it all? Do you ever sit there and you're in the middle of your act and you go, like, what is my job? I'm standing here in front of a bunch of people and they're waiting for me to make them laugh. Isn't that the craziest profession in the world when you think about it? I mean, isn't that does it ever drive you insane? Do you ever wish you did something else?
Well, I did manual labor before, and I liked that a lot.
I was a dishwasher. I loved it.
Really? Yeah.
But the pay was shitty.
The pay's shit, but somehow I always had money. I don't know why.
You yearn for
I don't
those
got
days.
no money now.
All right, Ralph, you're first up in Jersey. Go ahead.
Ralph.
Norm.
How you doing, baby?
Good, man. Hey, first of all, Norm's a great stand-up.
Oh, the what he was just saying there, though, you hear, like, police people say that. Like, I watch a lot of ex-criminals, but I also watch a lot of ex-police and undercover police, and it's something that they say, especially, like, early on, but they're like, you never really get used to the fact that, like I heard one policeman say that the first time he was actually in a like, real dangerous, like, confrontational situation. Yeah. He's like... I realised, he's like, that was the first time I realised, like, he's like, my first thought was someone ring the police. And then I thought, oh shit, I am the police. There's no one else. I have to deal with this. It's like you have that realization of, oh my God, like, this is actually my job to, yeah. But yeah, I think everybody has that to a certain point where you think, what is this?
I recommend his show. I've gone a couple of times. It's really good.
All right.
And I'm not going to repeat anything that Norm and we've talked off the air about Artie, and I don't think you're being 100% honest there, Norm. I think you know that there's some things you say. I don't think that you're saying that Howard's responsible for Artie's behavior, but the show just encourages it.
Yeah, of
Well,
course
that's
it
what he
does.
just said.
And there's no, and then there's no consequences, and that's where I think so. Like Artie falls asleep. What job could you fall asleep at?
Well, Ralph brings up a good point, because every guest has to talk about this now, I think.
Yeah,
Chris
this
Rock
becomes a
said
segment.
that, Howard should fire me. That's what he said. Because if I didn't have money, I wouldn't be able to.
Well, if you weren't so funny, you would be fired. I mean, that's the bottom
Do you
line.
recommend that I fire Artie?
You get away with it because you're so funny.
But if Chris Rock said that, he's incorrect.
That's not the right move.
If
Don't fire your friend.
there is a job that you can fall asleep at,
Sure.
because Artie falls asleep.
That's right.
Guy's sitting right there.
Let's go to Debbie. Debbie needs.
At the start of lockdown and COVID, I was working for a temp agency, so just doing jobs here and there, and I got this job like literally as the whole world shut down. I worked for, like, no one had work. No one was allowed to go work because I could. Do you know what I mean? And it was cleaning this office building, but there was no, like, each day less and less people would be there because the world was falling to pieces. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's thinking everyone's going to be zombies or something soon. Do you know what I mean? No one knew what was going on. But because there was no one there, I really had nothing to do. Like, the woman showed me what to do. And even on a busy day when there was those people, she was like, if you finish early, which obviously means she does, she's like, go in the cupboard and just chill in the cupboard. Like, people won't come in there. I'm not joking. I worked there for the first 2 weeks of lockdown, and then that was it. After that, like, even the temp was like, nowhere's, you can't work anywhere, nowhere's working. But yeah, literally for 2 weeks, I went there still and slept in the cupboard. There's loads of toilet rolls, and I just made a little bed of toilet rolls, like made pillow toilet roll, and went to sleep. And yeah, and then the last 3 days, I turned up and the gate weren't even open for the car park, and the security guard was like, mate, you might as well just go home. So I was like, sweet, didn't tell the agency I got paid for them. So yeah, Norm's right, there are jobs you can fall asleep on, especially when the world's falling apart. It's a great time.
Speak to you, Norm. Go ahead.
Hey, Norm.
Hi, Dave.
I was wondering what you think about Artie always complaining about the movie Dirty Work, because I think it's hilarious. And in his DVD, he gives people money back for if they paid for it.
Yeah, no, that's funny. No, it's funny because Dirty Work is a movie that's just how can I put it? It's just bad.
It's hilarious.
I know it is a funny movie. I can't apologize for it.
Chevy Chase was in it, and he said that unfortunately he was disappointed because it was really like an R-rated script, and then the studios got a hold of it and cut out a lot of funny stuff.
The studios.
Why
was
does
so
Artie
fucking
apologize for it?
Yeah, well,
No, I mean, I love the movie too, but it's a movie that's fun to make. Listen, the kid at my shows, they have 50 DVDs, and they asked me to sign it on stage, so I thought of a joke for it.
did the movie make any money?
No,
It did not make any money.
But the funny thing was, Chevy was right, because I remember the fucking, there's that guy Greg, remember?
Yeah.
There's a guy from
MGM
MGM, you know. So the movie was pretty fucking dirty, I thought, and they kept going, nah, this is a PG movie, you know? And we're like, really? Like, it seems like an R movie, you know? We're saying a lot of dirty stuff in here, and we're doing dirty things. And no, man, that's fine. So we didn't do any retakes or anything, like a clean version, you know?
Right.
Then they gave it to the MPAA for notes, and they gave the script back with no notes. Usually they make little notes.
Sure.
They said, "What are you fucking guys crazy?" You know, they didn't even fucking dignify with a single note because the whole thing was so
dirty.
was so obviously in our movie.
Wow.
So then we didn't have any fucking backups. We had to cut scenes. We had to do retarded looping that looked like nothing.
I would like to see the original version. You know, Artie does that joke. He says, if anyone didn't like Dirty Work, I'll return your money. You know, he's already returned $90 million. The guy's bankrupt.
Hey, you know what it is?
That's very flawed.
Yeah. Ralph,
Howard,
Yes.
how could the movie be a failure if you returned $90 million?
But it wasn't logical what I just said. Ralph, go ahead.
So I'm at dinner with Norm once, or lunch or something. We're at a big table, like all these people sitting around, and Norm puts his hand on my leg, not rubbing my leg or anything, just puts his hand on my leg. And I don't know, like it was weird, but you know, Norm's a weird guy. I don't know, like maybe he was fucked up. I don't know. His hand was just like on my leg.
You didn't knock it away, did
No.
you?
And then 5 minutes later, Norm goes, "Hey, you know, Ralph is a fuck. I've had my hand on his leg and he hasn't moved."
That's how I test people.
You test them.
I
So
test
you believe
people.
Ralph is gay?
I test people to find out if they're fags, and that's one of my tests. Can you imagine letting a fucking dude grab your leg for 5 minutes?
You mean Ralph didn't say anything?
Not a fucking word.
Ralph, you're gay.
Aren't you the fucker grabbing my leg?
No, he's testing
That's
you.
his test.
Norm, you are a genius. I really mean that. You might be the greatest genius of all time. You were the only one who figured out that Ralph really is gay. Why wouldn't you make Ralph? Why wouldn't you make Norm remove his hand?
Yeah, I say, what are you doing?
What?
I don't know. I found it funny. I didn't know.
And if he grabbed your cock, would that have been funny?
I've been giving Ralph a hand job for 20 minutes.
That was later.
Norm, you are a genius.
He laughed.
I love that.
Norm blew me too, but
I like how it becomes the other guy now.
Let's go to thank you, Ralph.
That's why I test if guys are fat.
All right. Have you tested anyone else as a fag, or is that the
He
only?
tried it the first day of Dirty Work. I fucking punched him in the face.
Yeah, you see, and that's you knew he wasn't a
No,
fag.
I knew he wasn't. He overreacted.
Everybody's
I
gay.
patted him on his shoulder. That's all.
You must think I'm
You
super
fucking clapped
heterosexual.
me.
You never tested me like that.
You ain't no fag.
That's right. Nick, go ahead. You're on.
Howard, I just wanted to say that this is the funniest interview. I'm literally pissing my pants. Norm is
terrific.
right on point, and he's the funniest son of a bitch who's ever taken a sip of water, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, then you'll want to go see him at Caroline's on Broadway.
Absolutely.
You better get over there.
So what's the plan?
I'm going to scampering right down there.
He has all these old-timey expressions. I was camping right down there. Why, that some bitch is the funniest thing since a glass of water.
You're a real piece of shit. You're so funny.
That's Norm Macdonald. He's the richest man in town.
Yeah!
Me and Norm used to talk about. Norm he used to say, like, after 2 years.
Off with a hunting knife there, buddy.
Yeah, well.
After 2 years of the Norm show, he was like, you know, fuck, I got enough. He used to talk
Where's
about-
that?
Norm used to-
Okay.
he used to say, like, after 2 years.
Off with a hunting knife there, buddy.
Yeah, well.
After 2 years of the Norm show, he was like, you know, fuck, I got enough money, like, fuck being the richest guy in L.A. I got enough money to be the richest guy in, like, Spokane, Washington. You know, and it's just like...
Because you go on the road, and you know, the guy would drive you to the club. You'd be in some little town somewhere,
Right.
you know? And then the guy would be driving, you pass, and then you see this fucking huge palace with 8 cars, you know? And they go, "That's Roy Johnson's house, richest man in town. Why, that house costs over $100,000.
Wow. So the plan was, I got so much money from my sitcom.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
just
gonna
be the
live there,
richest
right.
guy in this little place. And,
you-
that's Norm Macdonald lives there.
Do you miss?
Why, he fucked my daughter.
Do you,
Sure.
do you miss the days of the sitcom? Do you miss that kind of money, that action? I mean, that was tremendous. I mean, you didn't have to do a whole lot, and you got a lot of money,
No,
right?
you got to do. That's a misconception. If you're the star of the show,
There's a lot
it's
for you
a
to
lot
do.
Of, as a supporting actor on a sitcom is literally stealing money.
You were stealing money.
Yes, but he had a lot.
Do you
of
Artie
miss
had a
it?
good
Do you
job.
miss the sitcom at
Artie
all?
had a good job.
Did you miss the pay? Do you miss the going to the studio? It's exciting, right? You don't miss it.
No, I don't miss. I miss the people. It sounds so faggot. But I love Artie. I love Laurie Metcalf, and I love Max Wright. So
Right.
it
You
was
don't
fun.
call Artie
It was
that much,
fun
do you?
Well, I'd say about once a month.
Once a month, you guys speak on the phone.
we
It's
try
not
to,
awkward.
we try to talk.
Is it uncomfortable speaking to Artie now?
No, I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to, be careful, what you say. It's like,
Really?
He gets touchy, right?
no, I'm saying the same way that Letterman doesn't want to talk to you.
I see.
Yeah, you got 4 hours to fill, so you got to sometimes be careful.
I see. Really?
Even though I have probably nothing of
I
scandal.
can't imagine what those conversations are. I just can't.
Unbelievable.
Well, look, you've done it all. You know Macdonald. What's the plan for the rest of the day?
That's when you have nothing to say.
You're going to do
You've
the
done
show.
it all.
You've done it all.
Actually, that would be a great thing to hear, Artie and Norm's conversations. I bet Norm is hilarious, like getting a phone call from Norm. Yeah. There's a couple of things I want to say. I'm going to stop and make more coffee. But yeah, there's a couple of, the movie thing, when he was saying about the movie thing. Is it, who has it said that? Dave Chappelle about Eddie Murphy, or Eddie Murphy about someone else? It was some comedian that got the chance to make a film, and he's like, there was this guy in the studio and was kind of like, oh, let's try this. Let's do like a kind of ideas guy. And whoever the older comedian was went over, I think it's Dave Chappelle, and basically said to someone, that's the guy they've employed to take your movie off you. Yeah, it is Dave Chappelle. I'm sure it's Dave Chappelle, and it's about, what's the weed film he done? Jesus, what is that film called? Half-Baked. Something like that, innit? Yeah, and he said, and they basically turn it into a kids' film, just like what Norm said. But yeah, hold on 2 secs. Let's go to 40. Let's go.
Macdonald. That's my name. That's when you know the interview's coming to a
Winding
halt. So what else?
Now, what is the
It says
game
here
plan?
you're Norm Macdonald.
What is the game plan for the rest of the day? You're going to do some shows at Sirius.
Yeah.
After you're done with
get
those
some
shows,
people in those seats.
you're going to take a nap. And
I don't think I can take a nap. My hotel room's not ready. They said till 4 or 5.
you couldn't get the room the day before, and so it would
I
be
should
there.
have. Yeah.
That might have worked out
I
better
should
for
have
you.
done that.
Well, let me ask you. Artie says on the road he doesn't know what to do with himself. What do you do when you're on the road in some little town?
Yeah, what do you
Yeah,
do?
like I only like the time that I'm on stage, because other than that, like,
What do you do when you have to kill time? Do you play chess?
other than being a fucking other than the hour you're on stage, you're basically a fucking drifter.
Yeah, that's true.
So most of the time you're trying to find food, and these fucking towns think they're interesting, and so you go. This is what they find the most interesting. You go, hey, what is there to do in your fucking shit town? So then they go, you got to see the Galleria.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I'm from L.A.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen
Galleria.
Galleria.
A guy in Houston.
Last year, a guy shot everyone at the Galleria.
A guy in Houston told me that once. He said, first of all, it's a 400-pound guy. It was May in Houston. Like, the sweat was dripping off me. I had to, the club guy told me, take a cab. Like, I'll pay you for it. There's no car.
Right.
So I get in a cab in Houston. It's like 140 degrees. This guy's got a huge flannel shirt on.
Hey.
And he says hi. I say hi. He goes, you're a New Yorker, huh? And I'm like, well, I'm from there. And he goes, we got a place in town. It's just like Greenwich Village. And I said, really? And he says, yeah, but there's no fat. And I said, well, what is it? He goes, and he said, it's the Galleria. And I went, it was a mall.
With a hockey rink. It had a hockey rink.
But there were no
Nice.
fat. He was right.
Yeah.
Listen,
I put my hand on a bunch of guys' fucking legs. And they all said, what's your problem?
so you really have the same problem Artie does, in the sense that you have to kill a lot of time in your career.
Well,
and
Yeah, there's crazy boredom.
But you
Crazy
never got into
fucking boredom.
heroin or crack or any of this stuff that Artie does to kill
I
time.
never had to kill time.
Yeah.
To kill
Is that
me.
the point?
Yeah,
Just to kill some time?
You know, it's funny.
Well, that's what he's doing. He hates it. He
Me
kills
and
time.
Wait a minute. I don't think he's doing it to kill time.
You're not a drug guy, though, are you?
Well, in a way, everything. One time when I had the gambling fucking thing,
Right.
I went to a psychiatrist, and he said, "You're doing it to like avoid life."
Right.
So I was like, isn't that why you do every fucking thing there is? You know what I mean? Like, that's why you go to work and you get.
In a sense, that is life, right?
Me and
Life
Norm,
is avoiding.
Was gambling your thing? Like, in other words, it took your mind off of all your issues and all that kind of stuff. It was your
it's a complete escape. But then the thing that you do to escape your problem becomes the fucking problem.
I always worried about you because I always had a feeling you were always losing too. Like you weren't very good at gambling, but you would constantly bet on the wrong
Gabe
teams.
Kaplan?
Yeah, Gabe Kaplan.
No.
You know, like
well, you can't win if you gamble.
Poker, not even. You can't win that.
You can win poker if you want to.
Yeah, but you never win.
No, I don't think you. I don't. It's a complicated thing, but
You
I
ever
don't
sit
think
down and
gamblers
figure
want
out-
to win. I remember one time I heard Omar Sharif talking about it, and a couple times in my life I've been dead broke from gambling.
Right.
And he said this thing that I found like I related to because he said I lose $6 million. He was talking about the most money he lost. I don't know. That's
And God only knows how he got $6 million.
Yeah, he got
By the way,
that.
dead on impression.
I know, it's good, right?
Excellent, Omar Sharif. Yes.
Look forward to Caroline.
But he was a big gambler, big bridge player.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So he says, one time I did $6 million. He goes, I go across the street to a coffee shop and I get the coffee. I have $1 left. I get a coffee. He goes, I feel clean.
And
I understand what he means.
What does that mean?
Means when you lose everything, you're alive.
In other words, you don't feel alive unless there's some great tragedy. Or
No, it's
something
not
big.
a tragedy to have nothing.
Right.
I mean, don't you feel like sometimes when you're building a house, you're just walling yourself into a mausoleum?
Right.
Well, if you don't have that house,
You're free.
you're free.
You're free.
Now,
of course, you'll freeze
What is
to
the
death.
most? Do you ever sit down and figure out how much money you lost?
No.
Do you know what your biggest loss was?
No, I don't give a fuck about money.
You do too. You know
I
what your
know. Well,
biggest
you know
loss
what?
was.
No, I
No,
care
should we
enough
tell the
about-
story about my guy I hooked you up with? It's a long time ago. It's a long time ago
What's
now.
this one?
Fran?
No, shut.
Hit the button.
Oh, we can't say who it
I
is.
hit the
name,
button.
no,
I hit
there's
the
no
button.
name.
I hit
There's
the
no
button.
name.
All right.
So
What happened?
I
You
was a
hooked Norm
bad
up to
I
it?
was a bad influence on Norm, I think, and maybe because when we met each other,
And I'm the enabler.
When you shoot
Yeah.
when you shoot a buddy comedy like it was,
Yes.
you go away with someone to a different city for like 2 months. It's like going away to camp. So you're either gonna hate the person or love them. And me and Norm became friends because we shared one vice, gambling.
Gambling.
And I used to love gambling. And
I used to love. 2 days ago, he was gambling.
Right, yeah,
right.
used to.
the first night I met Norm, the rehearsals, we went to a pool hall in Toronto, and I won $2,000 off him playing 9-ball.
That's right.
And he ended up paying me in Canadian money. It was like a wheelbarrow, like blue pieces of paper with a goose on it.
Yeah, they don't have presidents.
You have no respect for the Canadian.
That's when you bribe somebody in Canada, you're like, maybe this goose will change your mind.
And it really looks like Monopoly money. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this?
Right.
Back then when the dollar was good, it was like a wheelbarrow.
So what's
what
the big
happened
story? Yeah.
we shot Dirty Work August into the fall, and
Right.
Norm was still on Saturday Night Live. And I started, in lieu of other things, halfway through the shoot, I started phoning this kid I know who was a runner for a bookie. So I start calling this guy, and I'm making a lot of bets. And see, Norm wasn't gambling at the time. He was really into work. He was shooting the film, and he was going back to SNL. The last few weeks, he had to go do SNL.
All
and the
right, he's
movie,
busy.
Right. But I think because I was always with him talking on the phone, he sort of like, yeah, you got a guy. And I said, yeah, I got a guy. He goes, can I have his number? Because I want to maybe start putting some bets in. So this bet that ruined
Too degenerate.
This bet that ruined me and Norm, because when we went on the road and I opened for Norm, and this is what we did. You talk about killing time. This
Right.
was a problem. We got introduced to this thing called a lightning bet. Now, what a lightning bet is, say you know what the under-over is in a basketball game, the total amount of points the two teams score. So say it's 180.
Okay.
Right? If you lightning $1,000 on the over, when they hit 180, every fucking point they score after that, you win $1,000.
Oh, I like that.
So it's like sick.
That's
like,
free money.
It's sick. Every layup is $2,000. So like if it's at 180 when they go into overtime, every single basket's $2,000.
Fantastic.
It's insanity. But every point it's under 180, you lose 1,100 because of the vig.
Right.
Okay, so it's craziness.
Right.
It really is like
that's a dangerous bet.
Right. It's a dangerous bet. Right. It's a dangerous bet.
It's a high stakes
but
bet.
it's the most
Not
exciting.
for me, because I couldn't lose.
Right. Well, it was.
You're a winner, right?
It was the most exciting type of gambling I've ever been involved.
So what happened?
So Norm, a couple of weeks in a row, wins like $100,000.
Oh my God!
I mean, because we were.
You're proud of that,
You know,
right?
we were doing.
I was on a hot streak.
He was, and you know what we were doing? We were betting on. It was the '98 NBA Finals. And we were betting on the Bulls and the Utah Jazz.
Utah Jazz,
right?
Lowest.
So Norm, like 3 weeks in a row, wins $100,000.
Wow.
And
you couldn't stop there, Norm, right? You couldn't say, I got a couple of hundred.
The guy.
I'm done.
Well, here's what happened. He gave it all.
I can buy the biggest house in Albuquerque and be that guy.
Here's what happened. He gave it all back, and then he was even again. Now Norm loses 3 weeks in a row.
Oh my God.
About the same amount of money, and Norm, being a good man, pays the guy off. Now, a couple of those weeks, I would win like $8,000, and we'd pick up the money from Norm. There'd be a shopping bag of hundreds. Like the kid I was going in with, the runner for the bookies, a kid I grew up with. You know, I was like, he's like, I don't want to go into New York by myself. It's a lot of money. So we would go in, and he'd get the shopping bag of $100,000 from Norm, and we would drive to this like factory in Jersey, and he'd peel off my $8,000 that I wanted. Didn't even make a dent in the fucking.
How do you know Norm wants this on the air?
We were told. Well, he knows what I'm
He
going to
likes
say.
it.
He knows
Yeah,
what
yeah.
This is a long time ago, man. He's a
right.
different guy.
Yeah.
So.
No, he's not.
Well, but listen to what happened, and this is why I don't talk to this kid anymore.
Right.
So Norm, being an honorable guy, pays off every week.
Right.
So now here comes the last game of the Utah Jazz versus the Bulls. Norm Lightning's $1,000 on the over.
Okay.
On the under. That's right.
No, I went over. You went under. It was the
No. I bet the over. You bet the under because you won.
It was the lowest scoring.
Lowest scoring.
And you had
won.
the under.
The over. So it was the lowest scoring game.
Right, but
you had the under.
You
won.
had the under. You
No,
won.
he had the over because it was the lowest scoring game.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Well, I'm trying to figure. Right. Okay. Exactly. So I bet the under, and he bet the over. Okay. $1,000. Now I only bet $200 a point, but Norm bet at that. So I had to deal with this. It was the lowest scoring game in the history of the NBA. The Jazz only scored like 45 points. Like Jordan just shut them down single-handedly. So I lost like $9,000 on the game at 200 points. Yeah, but Norm won like 110,000.
Wow.
Okay, so now he's even with the guy who wins $110,000. So now Norm comes into New York. We're doing press for Dirty Work, and he's at this hotel. And I said, I'm going to go get the money, and I'll bring it to you. So I call the guy up, and the guy goes, listen, man, I'm sorry. Tell Norm I can't find the guy. And I said, what? He says, tell him I can't find the guy. The bookie just took off on me.
Wow.
So I said, first of all, now listen, you got to, like, I knew Norm for a little while. But I had just gotten the movie with Spade. I said to this guy, I said, listen, you're fucking me up here, man. This is a guy I work with. I said, Norm could easily call Spade and say, this jerk off is ripping me off. He could get me fired from the movie. You're fucking me here. He's a good friend of mine. He paid you everything. First of all, what bookie wouldn't want that?
So you never got paid?
Wow.
I
had to go to the hotel. I had lost the $9,000 I lost, I gave to Norm.
That's true.
And I said, I'm not going to give it to him. So I kept begging the kid, and he kept sticking. Like, obviously, Norm thinks, and I think, he was the bookie.
Yes.
Right.
We both think that, but yet we're not saying his name.
Right. We're protecting him.
And but you see,
So he can continue.
Norm,
We don't want to
Norm
hurt
So
could
in
have
other
easily
words, when
believed.
you gave, so now that I hear this story, it's good you gave up gambling
Yes, it
because
is.
really it is because you can't teach your son these things.
My son's a good kid.
Right.
My son's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
But also, Artie keeps gambling with people he can't get paid for.
I know.
Well, now
Artie was up $70,000 and couldn't get it.
Did you hear
Same
that?
deal.
Yeah, same deal.
Not the same guy.
Different guy. Same story.
I won 78,000 on the NFL playoffs, and the guy gave me 18. But you know, again, it's like,
and you can't go to the police. So they're not interested.
Right.
There was
no,
nothing
one
to
guy, I
do.
remember with this guy, they go, why don't you break his legs? I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't you kill him? I'm like, yeah, that would be a good thing.
well, I tried to
Kill a man. man.
And you'll go to jail.
I go to jail.
You've never killed anyone, have you?
What?
No, you've never killed anyone. Listen,
I
Norm-
tried to tell. I said, listen, if Norm was an asshole, he could have said, look, obviously you're in on it with this guy. I never want to talk to you again. But
Right.
he believed me.
Of course. Who wouldn't believe you?
But what did Bernie Brillstein say to you that time? I was trying to, when you won the money playing craps, what did Bernie say to you?
Bernie, yeah, he just passed away. He was a great guy.
Did you go to the funeral?
Yeah.
A lot of celebrities?
I didn't go.
You didn't go?
You didn't go?
No.
You are a
I
recluse.
was actually kind of sad.
Well, that's why you go.
Yeah.
I know, but I knew people would be making jokes and stuff like that.
What did he say? He
No,
said,
yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? Because I was thinking, I've heard this story about Norm, but it's not the story about Norm I've heard. I've heard Artie tell that story of him, where he bet the over, and it was the lowest scoring game. Yeah, that's what I was getting confused in, because I was thinking, I know this story, but I didn't actually, it wasn't Norm's side of the story that I knew. It was Artie's, because when he said he bet the under, I was thinking, no, that ain't the story. But now I remember I've heard Artie tell the story, yeah. And that's a lot under if you'll bet 200 over, then it comes to $9,000. That's crazy. But what they were saying as well is kind of true about apps. Even apps do it. Even apps that are like, do you know what I mean, legal. You can win however much money you want, but they only pay out a certain amount of money. And it's like, how can that possibly be right? That you can put a bet on with odds that say win you $1 million, but the app will only pay you $100,000 or something. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the actual number is, but there's a cap off on how much you can win, and it's like, well, then don't have the odds for something. Like, yeah, gambling's a messy world. Like I say, I've never been. I gamble for fun. Like I might do the Grand National, and even then, most of the time, I even forget it's on. People say, "Oh, Grand National's on, put it on," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck, then put a bet on." But that's kind of like it's horse racing, and kind of is something in our country that like literally everybody puts something on the Grand National. It's like everyone watches it, and I think it's the biggest amount of horses. Most of like you do see some savage things where horses get. I think they was talking about banning it for how cruel it is to horses because it's a lot of horses. I don't know. I'm sure it's the but like I say, like it's an event that like people put bets on for their kids. Do you know what I mean? Like your kid will pick a name they like of a horse. You have all the horses, and it's just kind of like the whole country does it. But that's like I say, the UFC. I'll bet on the UFC or a boxing event. But to be honest, it's kind of not worth doing it. Like UFC, I can, like you kind of know if you like follow the sport, you know who's going to win, you know who's on a good run, you know who's, do you know what I mean, lost a couple, and you can like gauge it. But the odds is just shit unless you put on something specific, and even then, like I just put like if I'm going to watch a UFC event, I'll put on like an accumulator of like 8 fights and put like a fiver on and win £300 or something. Do you know what I mean? And I always lose by 1 fight as well, and then they give you basically a bet back. But I always lose by 1 fight, and they're like, yeah, you get a bet back, but for accumulator over 5 things. But yeah, like I say, I'll put fivers on. That's it. I don't have and even then, I feel like because I never win. I'm not. I'm the what like whatever I'm gonna bet on. I tell you one UFC was Colby Covington versus Masvidal, and I knew because it was a big beef. They were used to be teammates, now they're rivals. Blah blah blah. I knew 100% that Colby was going to take him down and submit him because it was a big beef, and I'm thinking he's going to try and humiliate him. Well, exactly what I thought happened. Colby took him down almost instantly, went for the submission for 25 minutes, and just didn't get. Masvidal just would not give him it. But I had a bet on Colby to win by submission because I knew that was going to be his game plan. I knew he wasn't going to want to stand up and bang with Masvidal, and I knew that Masvidal has not got the wrestling to deal with Colby, and Colby just wrestled the life out of him. Tried to choke him, tried to do this, tried to do that, and Masvidal just for 25 minutes I was on the edge of my seat and I was like, come on, like, come on. Do you know what I mean? But again, I think I probably put a fiver on that and probably would have won like £25 or something. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, enough gambling stories. That's and I kind of lied. We went up to 25, but yeah, it was a story. So, but yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.